So basically that's it. So those are the bases that we're going to focus on. And if you remember with Miss Nelson, she talked about the volume, she talked about big B, and we'll get to that in a second. Well, actually, she did talk about volume in the last video, so we're going to go ahead and put, this is what I tell my kids, big B stands for area of the base. Area of the base. So what I do is every time I get a formula chart, I put a big B over here. That means every time I see a big B, I'm going to have to refer to the area that says area. So we're going to keep going now. We're going to focus more on the surface area part of it. Notice how there's two sections. There's the lateral and then there's the total. Lateral, what I try to put on here is sides only. Reminds me a lot of lado in Spanish. And this is total. Total is bases plus sides, which is basically everything. Oops, everything. That's what total surface area is. So we're going to go ahead and go on to your notes. I'm going to take off this this formula chart. Ooh, I forgot one big thing, and I'll put it on. We'll put it on the notes page. But if you notice, there's another letter here that we're not aware of, or that we haven't really worked with, and it's P, not just any P, it's big P. So there's multiple, more than one. And big P, I'm just going to put it here, is big P is perimeter of the base, So it's perimeter of the base. So when you see big P, it's perimeter of the base. I don't have a place to put it on there. We don't have a perimeter section, but we're going to just go ahead and put it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this aside, and you have yours. So refer back and forth to it. And then this is my little surface area paper. I write bigger, so I kind of took like the one that Miss Nelson did and made my own. So surface area is basically the sum of all the faces of all the sides of a figure. There's two types of surface area. There's lateral, and we just talked about that. Lateral, and this is what you want to write down, and slow the video down, pause it as you need, but I'm going to go faster so it's not that long. Lateral and total. Lateral is sides only. This is just so that you can sides only. And total is everything. And we wrote this down. The more you write it, the more likely you are to remember. So total is everything. And then here we're going to put no bases. So this is total is everything. Sides only, no bases. So real quick, I'm just going to slide this over so that you can take a look at this. We're going to focus on prisms and cylinders. Prisms and cylinders. Prisms can be rectangular prisms, and they could be like a sandbox or a shoebox or a cereal box. And we even have a triangular prism here. Looks like a tent almost. Then we have cylinders. Cylinders have a base of circular bases, and revolve around, I'm just going to put here, just going to do a little circle here. You can add it if you want. We have the radius, that's radius, and then we have the same circle. If you go all the way across, that's diameter, right? So just be aware, because that might be something going on. You don't have to draw these. You always have the video to refer back to, but that's where it's at. So let's just go ahead and start with this one over here. We're going to start with the prisms, and I'm going to squeeze it in as much as I can. We're going to start with lateral, because lateral is part of total, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to start with this first one. This is a rectangular prism. The first thing I like to do is identify your bases. Bases are always parallel from each other. Sometimes, depending on the picture, you can't see both. But in this case, it's 3D and you can see it. There's two bases. They're parallel from each other. So the two green sections that are on there. We're going to find the lateral surface area. And if we look at our formula chart, I'm going to bring it down real quick. Our lateral surface area, it's right here at the top. For a prism, lateral, it's really easy. You just got to look for the words, is big PH. So lateral is big PH. So big P stands for perimeter of the base. The one thing I like to do is look at my base, and you can either use the top or the bottom. So perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So basically you're just going to trace the bottom of your figure. So it's 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. So I'm going to put it right here. 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 is, yep, 20. So that's 20. And then h, that's easy. H is the height. So it's the height from the top base to the bottom base, which is going to be 5. So my lateral surface area is going to be S equals 100. 100 inches squared. That was too easy, right? Add and multiply. That's all you got to do. Now, when we get to total, total is a little bit longer, but you're going to find some similarities. So if you check this out, total, and if you look on your formula chart, is going to be big PH, we've seen that before, plus 2 big B. That means everything. So this time you're going to include the bases. The lateral is just what's around it. Think of a total you would use on a rectangular prism more often like a present. You're going to wrap the entire present. Lateral, that means you would just wrap the sides and leave the bottom and the top open for them to see. And for a present, you don't want lateral surface area. So it really depends on what they're asking you for. The cool thing about this is what I taught my kids is that since lateral and total have big pH in common, I'm not going to work harder than I need to. I already know that my lateral surface area is 100, so I'm just going to copy paste it over. I'm just going to copy paste it over. Why do I have to do the work again? Plus 2 big B. So now I'm going to take plus 2. Big B is the area of the base. The area of my green rectangle is length times width. So that would be length times width, which would be 6 times 4, and that would give me 24. So my area of the base is 24, and I'm going to multiply it by 2 because there's 2 bases, top and bottom. The cool thing about our calculator is that it will do all of it for you, or you can do piece by piece, but you don't want to make a little mistake, so it's easier for the calculator to do it. So you should get an answer of 148 inches squared. Excellent job. At the end of the video, I'll give you a couple that you can practice on your own, but I'm going to try and hurry so that you guys can go ahead and practice on your own and wait and use your time wisely. The next one on the bottom is a triangular prism. This one tends to scare some people, but it's not really that scary. Don't be afraid. Just look and gather your information. Again, it's a prism, so we're going to do lateral, lateral, and it has the same formula, big P, H. So the perimeter of the base, so in our bases are our blue triangles over here, and I'm not going to color everything over here because then I'll cover the 3. But we have our 2 blue triangles. The perimeter of the base, you look for your triangle and you add up all 3 sides, the sum of all the sides. So 6 plus 6 plus 5. So 6 plus 6 plus 5, that gives you 17. 17 for your big P, the perimeter of the triangle, plus the height. The height is the distance from one triangle to the other triangle, and that is 9. So we're going to grab our little calculator really quickly. And 9 times 17. I'm going to do it here. 17 times 9 is going to give us 153. So this one, surface area here is going to be 153 inches squared. That's our lateral surface area. And again, with our total surface area, total is the same thing. Total is, let me write here, total is big PH plus 2 big B. Well, we already know that this one is the same, so we're going to copy paste it. So it's going to be 153 plus 2. Now we just got to figure out the area of the base. Well, the base is a triangle, and how do you find the area of a triangle? So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to look for big B. I'm going to look for triangle, and it's 1/2 base times height. And if you don't remember 1/2 base times height, area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So the base of my triangle, this is what it looks like, right? The base of my triangle is 5. The height of my triangle is the distance from the bottom of the base of the triangle to the tallest part of the triangle, which is 3. So base times height is 15. 15 divided by 2, the area of my triangle is 7.5. So I'm going to come over here and write 7.5. And then I'm going to take my calculator and I'm just going to show it one time. I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to enter all of it at one time so that it does the problem for me. 153, that's the lateral, plus 2 times 7.5 gives me 168. So that means that my total surface area is 168 inches squared. Perfect. So remember, you can pause this video, go back, look to see where I got the numbers from, retrace your steps if you're having some trouble. Those were rectangular prism and triangular prism. So now I'm going to switch over real quick to the next page. Remember, before I start or before I get the answer, pause it. You're more than welcome to try it before I get it. And we're going to do cylinders real quick. I have 2 cylinders on here. Cylinders are probably the easier of the 3. I think. The formulas look a little bit more difficult, but in reality, I think they're a little bit more, they're user-friendly. So we're going to look back here at the formula for cylinder. Notice that they have 2 pi RH for the cylinder. We have pi because we're using circles. We have the lateral is 2 pi RH, but when we get to the total, again, it's 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. Notice that it's, again, we can copy paste our lateral answer into our total formula, so that'll help us. So let's get started. So let's do lateral. That means side only, so that means that I'm only going to cover this portion of the can if I'm doing lateral, and then I'll color in a little bit more in a second. So it's 2 pi RH, and this one you really do want to use your calculator. Sometimes you do get problems where they're just asking you for the formula and the correct number. Ooh, I forgot a height on this. Let's say it's 12 inches. I forgot to put a height on that one. So let's say it's 12 inches. So let's go from here. Let's start it. So we have 2 pi times the radius. Nice. They gave us the radius on this one, so it's 5. No work needs to be done. And the height from the first base to the second base is 12. So let's go ahead and turn on our calculator real quick. Again, I'm just going to show you one time on here that you can do it pretty much with the whole problem and just type it in. 2 pi is located on the bottom of your next to, next to the letter H. So pi, 2 pi times 5 times 12. And our lateral surface area is 376. 376.991. Now the thing about this is that you want to have at least only 2 decimal places, depending on your answer choices, but you want to round. 5 or more, add 1 more. 4 or less, let it rest. So this would come out to approximately, because we're rounding, 376 So this, 376 and 99 hundredths, or 0.99 depending on how you do. 5 or more, add 1 more. 4 or less, let it rest. And we have inches squared. I thought I had done a little mistake. No, but we're good. So that's lateral. And now we're going to do total. And total seems harder, seems longer, but I love cylinders. I think it makes it so much easier. 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. Well, notice that we already did 2 pi RH, so we're just going to copy paste it up into here. So 376.99 plus, now we can do the other parts, which is going to be 2 pi. Now we need the radius. The radius again is, correct, 5, and squared. You don't need me. I'll go ahead and I'm going to type it in my calculator. You type it in yours. $534.07 is your answer. 534.07 inches. Don't forget your units. Inches squared. If for some reason you didn't get that answer, feel free to go back and type it in again. Pause it, rewind. Make sure you understand it. The bottom one, really quick, I really don't want to go over it that much because you understand it. The only thing I'm going to tell you is look for your information. So we know in this case, let me go back up to the top one. This total also included the 2 green bases. So if you were doing lateral, you only did the blue side. If you were doing total, you did the blue, 2 pi RH plus the green. So that'll kind of help you understand it. Well, with the one on the bottom,